Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman from Cranberry Fields Flower Farm and Lucy Lehman. Hey Flower Tribe, it's Kelly Lehman from Cranberry Fields Flower Farm, and I'm coming to you from behind the camera today. So let's dive right in. So here I am in my New Jersey garden. It is June, and I am planting hardiness zone 6. And this is what one of my hydrangeas looks like in this back garden here. And what's going on is that I'm noticing that the black-eyed Susan flowers that are in back of it, they haven't quite flowered yet, but they will soon. They're starting to kind of encroach on the soil around the base of this hydrangea plant. And so black-eyed Susans are awesome. I love them, but they are a profuse reseeder. So they will like reseed themselves and they will just spread throughout the garden, throughout the year. So they tend to kind of take over a lot of garden real estate. And you can tell that they're also taking over my hydrangea over here. So this one didn't quite bloom this summer so far, but I'll get back to that in a minute. So you can tell all these black-eyed Susans are kind of taking over where this hydrangea is planted, and what it's doing is it's blocking the airflow for this plant. And that's not good, because when a hydrangea's base airflow is kind of clogged up like this, you start to get a boatload of fungal issues, and things start getting kind of yucky. You start getting all sorts of spots and funguses, and so it's happening kind of like over here also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig up a lot of these. I'm going to wait till we have like a rain, and this way I'll know that these black-eyed Susans are really, really hydrated. I'll probably wind up digging them up early morning. I don't want to dig them up in the heat of a super, super hot day when they're dehydrated and not feeling very good, and they don't have a lot of energy inside of them. So I'm going to wait until it rains. I'll do it in the cool of the morning. I'm going to dig these black-eyed Susans up, and I'm just going to transplant them into a different spot in my garden where they can flourish and they're not going to clog up the airflow of a lot of these hydrangeas, and that's going to be the quick fix to that. So let's get back to why this hydrangea is not blooming. So what happened was we had a really warm winter, and so a lot of these blooms that were put in place last year on the old wood, let me see if I can kind of show you that here. Let me show you a better example here. So a lot of these blooms that were put in on last year's old wood were frozen off, and it looks like this. So this whole shrub should have been covered with a lot of these brown sticks that then had some green coming off of them, and that would have been like beautiful, beautiful blue blooms. But what happened was then we had a spring frost, and all of them were kind of frozen off, which you can kind of see here. Like this should have been a bloom, it was frozen off. And so what I did was I came in and I cut out most of those sticks that had like those dead frozen blooms on them because they weren't helping the plant. And what you're seeing here is the new growth that's coming from the base of the plant. And this new growth is going to give me beautiful blooms like you see, coming through right here. So this is like a brand new green stem that was from that new growth. And you could just see, a lot of the stems that were actually cut out of here were from that old wood. So these guys are going to start blooming soon. I'm not worried about it. So by July, I should have beautiful blooms from this endless summer, and it's going to look gorgeous. Let me show you my limelight hydrangea here. A lot of people often ask me, like the end of June, what's wrong with my limelight hydrangea? Why isn't it blooming? All my other hydrangeas are blooming. Limelight hydrangeas just wind up giving us blooms towards like mid to late summer. So be patient. Eventually, this hydrangea is going to be packed with gorgeous white creamy blooms that are going to then turn kind of like a green, like to a dried flower, and it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And I'm going to swing around over here because I want to show you what some of my Annabelle hydrangeas look like. And these Annabelle hydrangeas were planted the same time as these guys over here. So these hydrangeas now have too much shade on them. So they used to get like a lot of beautiful morning sun and then some afternoon shade. But what happens is now they're almost in complete shade, which is why they're not giving me blooms. So I'm probably going to dig them up in the fall and transplant them. Fall is my favorite time to transplant hydrangeas. And so this is what some of my Annabelles look like. And I just want to show you that some of these blooms are on cracked stems right now. And that's because I wound up giving this plant pruning in the beginning of spring. And I did that because I just wanted to give it a recharge. I hadn't pruned it back probably, I don't know, in maybe like 5 or 6 years. And every now and then I just want to give it like a recharge. But what happens when I give it the recharge is that it doesn't have a strong network of last year's wood in place to kind of hold up those blooms. So you can tell this is kind of like where we had cut it back. I cut it back to about 2 feet. But normally I do not prune my Annabelle hydrangeas back. And then this network of like old wood is like really tall, and it just supports these plants so much better, especially when we get a heavy rain. So my advice to a lot of you that are growing Annabelle hydrangea or Incredible or any other smooth hydrangea is to avoid pruning them back unless it needs a recharge, unless they're just, you know, not really blooming like they used to. Do not prune them back, and you will have that strong network of, you know, the old wood, and then you won't have these flopping hydrangeas. But what you could do is, if you have this going on, you could just put some bamboo poles around the plant and then just wrap some garden tape around like the entire plant with the bamboo, and then it'll, you know, kind of just like hold those plants up. And I actually made you a video showing you exactly how I do that. And so that's what's going on at Cranberry Fields. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and please say hi to us over on my Cranberry Fields Instagram page and also on my Kelly Lehman's Flower Tribe Facebook group, because there's thousands of gardeners from all over the world and they're asking and answering loads of garden questions over there. And please also check out my brand new garden podcast, and I have about 50 hydrangea care videos that I will link to the end of this video in my hydrangea care playlist. And please also let me know where you're viewing this from in this great, big, beautiful world. I love to see how our flower tribe is growing around the globe each week. And you can also check out my online flower courses. All of these will be in descriptions below, and I will see you in the next video.